everybody. Welcome to our podcast, our video podcast on YouTube that we've recently launched. And of course, the audio is still available on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, etc. We are the Heart and Soul Sisters. I'm Ronnie.
Hello, I'm Jenny.
Hi,
And that
good
was
to see
Poe in
you
the
this
background.
morning. Oh, hi, Poe.
Good to see you too, my little Roddy. Oh, good. Well, you might be hearing him
Oh,
on and off in the background.
that's okay. We like Poe.
We do.
So today we are talking about shame. And
Goody goody.
since it was your idea, my dear sister, to tackle this topic today, I'm going to throw it to you.
Oh, good. I get to go first. Thank you. Yeah, well, stepping out and talking about our family of origin issues was a really big thing because
Yes,
we're breaking the code of silence, and that's a tough thing to do, and because it's a complex thing of shame and vulnerability and fear of judgment and rejection and all of that. And I think that even as I'm talking about it, my GI tract is going, whoa, abort, abort, abort. Because it's like, this is not fun
yeah,
stuff, right?
no,
Facing our past wounds or mistakes, or, shame. It's not just about abuse and addiction and all the messed up things that go along with that. But we all have shame to varying degrees of, I think, choices we've made, mistakes, failures that we don't want people to know about. And we could go on and on about that, and it's part of that. I think of it in our light side and our dark side, right? We have
mhm,
the light side of all the good things that we want to be, and we want the world to see, and we want to share with the world, and we want to make the world a better place. And yet we're human, and we make mistakes, and at times we may make really bad choices, and even 30 minutes late after the choice, we're like, what was I thinking? Why did I do that?
right,
And in this situation, it's even more complex, I think, for um coming out, because I have cousins, and we have aunts and uncles, and people that we love, and
right,
that we may not have contact with right now, but we certainly don't want to burden anybody, right? We don't want
right,
to make anybody else feel uncomfortable.
right.
And because we're uncomfortable, so we're uncomfortable with it. So I'm sure not other people aren't going to be real comfortable with it, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's kind of that
yeah,
whole circle of shame of, but I think part of this drive that you and I have had of coming forward with our story, has been from a desire to just say, okay, here I am. This is all of me.
right,
This has been a huge, huge part of my life that has shaped most of my decisions in life, right? I mean,
right,
my
right.
decision to at times homeschool our children, to everything, has been it's touched every part of our lives, I think. Going
Yeah,
into the helping professions that we both chose, I mean, we both loved music and performance, and there's a part of me would have wanted to go into a performing arts life, but
right, right.
but I would say, and music's been a big part of my life, as it has for you, but I think my whole decision to go into a helping profession stemmed from what we grew up with, and that just burning desire, and shame has been a part of that burning desire to help other people,
Yeah,
and that shame has been also that other part of hiding all of who I
yeah,
am, all of where I
yeah,
came from.
right.
And so I think just even talking about it today, I mean, We were laughing before we started, but I have a physical response. My
Yeah.
GI tract just goes whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh no. This is
Not
not
again.
happening. It's like,
Right.
uh-oh. And when I was a kid, I used to throw up a lot. Now, thank God I'm not doing that anymore, but I'm still having GI issues. That's totally
Yes.
related to being seen, to
Yes.
to fear of judgment and shame. Totally.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
are your
No.
thoughts, Ronnie?
Well, a lot there to pick up on. The first thing is I had the same experience. The day that we launched all of this, that we said, okay, here's our first podcast, and we put it out there on Facebook and Instagram and all that. That night, I woke up at 3 a.m. and I was laying there in shame and fear, right? I
Doggone
was
it.
yeah, I was totally aware of that. During the
Mhm.
day, I was excited. It didn't really phase me. And like you said, I was thinking about, because as we said in our earlier podcast, um, when we broke contact with our parents, they went and told everybody we're related to whatever they wanted to, and there's really almost no one that has any contact with us. But those that do, we've never talked to about this. And so it may be shocking to them if they decide to listen to the podcast and hear some, and we didn't even begin to touch the surface of the things that happened to us as children, because we're not trying to encourage voyeurism, and we don't want to go there, but it's
Mm.
just that it may be upsetting to them.
Yeah.
My colleagues in academia, my students, what if they happen upon my podcast and find out, even though I've started sharing more of my story in my classes to, because it's relevant to some of the things that I talk about in my classes. And I thought, I don't want to stand here and pretend I don't have any personal experience with these things and talk about them from a strictly clinical point of view.
Right.
I don't think it helps other people
Yeah.
to, I mean, the thing I say about this all the time from an intellectual standpoint is, we don't talk about these issues enough. They're shrouded in stigma and shame and silence and secrecy, and therefore they continue, right? These
Yes.
dynamics continue because we don't talk about them, because we don't bring them to the light of day. And so I've always been approaching this from the standpoint of, we have to talk about them so people can heal. And so as we've sort of talked about what we're trying to do, we've said, well, we want to share our story to help other people. We want to share our story to help other people. And as I was laying there from 3 till 6:30, when I finally got up and moving through my morning meditation and yoga practice, I started to see, no, this is for me. Maybe even primarily for me, not just partly for me. Like,
Yeah.
this is part of my own growth, right? To be able to speak out about what my past is like, what my struggles have been, what my future is, or my present is. Um, that's it's real, and it doesn't. When we launched this, we've used, it's a well used metaphor in the recovery community, but this idea of an onion and layers and peeling away, and it's not, it's something that doesn't stop,
Right. You don't
right?
say,
I mean,
"Okay, I've arrived. Here I am. I'm done
yes,
with it."
that's right.
It's like, "No,
Exactly,
guess again," right?
exactly. So the whole point is to keep trying to learn, right? To keep trying to grow, to keep trying to honestly um, become aware of who I am and where I am and where those growth opportunities are. So here we
Yeah.
go. Another doggone growth opportunity.
That we're embracing,
Yes. Yeah.
and hopefully this will help other people to embrace, the first step or in the middle or wherever it is, because living in denial and trying to hide it or stuff it down with food or whatever means you use, me,
Mm.
food, yeah. um or alcohol or whatever. You stuff those feelings or that shame, it doesn't go away. And
No.
I think those um coping strategies, ineffective coping strategies, um, kind of make it worse and magnify it. Um,
Sure, because then you have something else to
so
be ashamed of.
exactly. So I think it's really important to embrace it. It's part of your dark side. It's part of your maybe things that you wish you didn't have that were part of you, but I mean, I think it's important to love your whole self. And that's I think part of what we're trying to do. I just lost an earphone, but that's okay. I can hear you where it went.
Well, if the other one
But
goes, we'll let you go look for him.
okay. Like, golly. Must have been
Tuck
my
that other one
hair.
in real
My
tight.
hair just
Yeah,
dropped it. It's a little frizzy. We were walking and it was gale force winds up here by Lake Superior. I mean, this is crazy. The lake didn't freeze
yeah.
over this year and we've had like gale force winds on and off through the whole winter. Anyhow,
Yikes.
I digress. Going back to just about, the shame and the judgment and the fear kind of all goes together. And I think I think that this is just a part of it that is so important that we acknowledge it and learn to embrace it as part of us, which is what I think we're trying to do here.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
embrace it from the standpoint of not heaping another dose of shame or judgment on ourselves for feeling shame in
for
certain
having
moments or about certain things. Yeah.
right,
I mean,
right.
and actually I was thinking that before we started today that this is kind of cool that you wanted to do this topic right after last week's topic on judgment, because as I had all that time to, sort of um, think and prepare today, I was thinking that um, the shame is really internalized judgment or judgment of others or imagined judgment of others that we um, just take on and accept, right? So in some level, the shame is about accepting the judgment other people have either laid on us, or what we imagine they're thinking, or
Yeah,
whatever. And so, in some ways, what's interesting about shame is there is some agency available there. If I can, if I haven't even really thought this through totally, so I don't know if I'll be able to express it well, but if I can, like, I have the power to release that. Just like I have the power, like I can release myself of certain emotions if I forgive people for doing something, right? If I can just say, it doesn't matter what people think or what I imagine other people think, can I stop imagining what other people think? Can I stop worrying about what other people
right.
think? It's an incomplete exercise at best because we are social creatures, and we all develop. Here's where my sociology comes in, my background. We all develop our sense of self based on what others mirror back to us, right? Society is this giant mirror, so it's never going to be. We can never separate ourselves completely from other people and what other people think about us or what we imagine they think about us. But it's a it would be a freeing exercise if we could completely.
Yeah.
And even if we can't completely, if we can do it partially, if we
And
can
it's
recognize that others' judgments don't have to have a bearing on what we choose to do.
it's like, is it Dr. Wayne Dyer that said, what other people's opinions are really none of our business. What their
Yeah.
opinions are of us are none of our business.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of and Eckhart, is it Eckhart Tolle talks about being in
Hmm.
the present, in the moment. And really, when you're living with shame and you're living with judgment, and that's those tapes are constantly running through your head, you're truly living in the past. You're not living in
Yeah.
the present. You're not living with who you are today in this moment now. You're beating yourself up about what happened 10, 20, 30 years ago or 5 years ago or last year, and you're not that person anymore.
Yeah.
You are who you are now. And I think the biggest part of releasing shame and letting go of the fear of judgment is all that whole part about living for who I am in the moment now. And because who I am in the moment now is perfectly fine. There is nothing wrong with me in this moment right now.
Right.
Everything is perfect. Everything is wonderful. And I'm connected to God, source, the fountain of all love and all creation, and that's perfect in this moment. And that's where, letting go of the past and freeing yourself from beating yourself up, about the
Right.
past is so crucial for all of us because it happened. It's over,
Right.
and
Right.
and how are you going to make the best use of the present moment if all your focus is in the past?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
this is what's so important, I think, for all of us, but for you and me working on our healing hearts and transforming lives is about
Right.
really being free
Yes.
to love and accept yourself now in the moment and count these blessings that we have right now.
Yeah.
And
And we have lots of
that's
them.
what yes, we do. We all do. We all have just tremendous blessings that if we just open our eyes and look, they're there. They're right
Right.
there.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
so I think
Yeah.
that was the big message for me about us doing this and letting go of the fear of judgment and the shame.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I wanted to pick up on a thread that you threw out there earlier, talking about mistakes and looking back on your mistakes, and we all make mistakes. And I almost 4 years ago now took my yoga teacher training, got certified at Kripalu.
No, the
The
mothership. We just
Yes, the place we
love
call the
Kripalu.
mothership.
Oh my
Yeah, the
gosh. And all
yoga and
those
retreat.
amazing people. We love you, Kripalu. Woo.
Yes, yoga and retreat center out in Massachusetts, in
Mm.
West Stockbridge, Massachusetts. And yeah, we call it the mothership because it's so great every time we go. Um, and I was fortunate enough to be able to just take a month and go to get, do the training all at once, and it was an amazing experience. But one of the things that stuck with me from that I call on every so often is at one point one of the teachers said somebody had talked about making a mistake, and one of my instructors said, "There, there's no mistakes. There's no wrong. There's only learning." And I'm like,
Yeah.
like that a lot, and
Let's
I
write
actually
that. Let's
I
write that
actually
nugget down.
I did. We had this giant binder that we used to hold all our stuff, and I took some paper and some, crayons, some colored, I don't know, crayons, I think they had crayons there to work with, and I drew this big flower, and I wrote, "There is no wrong, only learning," and I put it right there in the binder on top because it's like, yeah. Yeah. There
I
is no
love that.
wrong, only learning. If you're acting with malice, okay, maybe there is such a thing as wrong. If you're doing something that you know to be harmful to someone else on purpose, all right, I might be willing to call that wrong. But if you make a choice and it doesn't turn out the way you'd hoped, it causes you pain, it causes somebody else pain. Okay, maybe if you had a chance to do it again, you would make a different choice,
Oh
but
yeah.
it doesn't make you a terrible person, doesn't make you stupid, doesn't I mean, we're all learning, and if we could give each other that grace, but really that grace starts at home. If we could give ourselves that grace to say, to come back to this, to us, and doing this, launching this venture. It's like we both felt so strongly that it was the right thing to do. And we talked about it for a long time, and we planned it for a long time, and
And we
longer
had
than
our
we probably
moments.
should have. Yeah,
We had our
I had
moments of
moments where I drug my
I
feet,
don't know.
you drug your feet.
Yeah,
Mostly it was me,
maybe.
but
Oh.
mostly it was me, because 'cause I'm a ducks in the road
Just
kinda
being
gal, and
honest there, right?
I wanted to, yeah, yeah, because I wanted to, we thought this through, we thought that through, do we wanna do it this way, do we wanna do it that way, how do we wanna launch it, how often are we gonna do it, how long is it gonna be, like, I wanted to know everything in advance,
And we
and,
kept
which is
quoting, oh, when we went to Omega, I gotta give Clem Struck the credit, man. We
Oh,
went to
yes.
this thing. This is where it came to us. Did we? I don't think we said this before. I repeat myself a lot, guys. So if I repeat a story, sorry. It's
No,
just
no, this
part
is
of.
we haven't told this. We haven't told
But we
this.
went to Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York. Oh my God, another amazing place. And
Yes.
we were doing this to learn how to kind of work on our
Launch your
website,
Yeah,
launch our
was it the
website
it's
and
called
our
launch your no, find your audience in the digital age, or building your audience in the digital age. That's what it
yeah,
was.
yeah, great, amazing people that came there, and I'd love to name all their names, but I'd have to go. I'm terrible with names, but I do remember Clem with Mind Valley and Solvana, Mind Valley. Anyway, and he said, don't worry. He had this beautiful accent. He said, don't
Yeah.
worry. He said, the world needs you. The world needs your light. He said, ready, shoot, aim. And I was like, you got that wrong. He said, no, I meant that. Ready, shoot, then aim. He said, just get out
Just
there.
try it. Just try
Yeah,
something
it
and
was
see if it sticks, and
ex-
if it doesn't work, try something else.
so we
Just keep
looked at each
trying.
other. Exactly. And that was I think toward the end of that talk is when I looked at you and said, we're doing this. We're doing this together. It was like a tuning fork went off. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're doing this. We're
Yeah.
just, I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know how it's going to come together, but we're doing this. We're just going to do it.
Yeah. You turned to me and said, "We're gonna be the click and clack of the metaphysical world." And I thought about it for a second, and you turned around, turned back to the speakers in the middle of the speaker. You nudged me and you whispered, "We're gonna do this. We're gonna be the middle. We're gonna be click and clack." And then I elbowed you back and said, "We're gonna be the heart and soul sisters."
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then, of,
That's right.
and then of course, we had to scour our social media to make sure there wasn't anybody else out there being that. So we are the heart and soul sisters for that reason. But, but yeah, but it has taken us a number of months. We won't mention exactly how many. Uh, so we didn't
all,
quite shoot and then
it's
aim,
all
but
good. All
it's
good.
yeah. Um, so what were we doing with that? I don't even know.
we're
But
we're stepping into the light. That's what we're doing.
we are. We were making the point that we really felt like we needed to do this, but it just was. And even as we launched it, it felt like yes, 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 yes. And then within hours,
Of pushing the
it's like,
button, of pulling the
what
trigger.
did I
Oh my
do?
God. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like,
Yeah,
oh boy. It's okay though. It's all
it is
okay.
okay. It is okay. It will be okay.
Yeah.
There is no wrong, only learning.
Only learning. Exactly. Exactly. And we're learning as we
Oh,
go. We all are. And
we
that's the
all we
beauty.
all
That's
are
the
for
beauty of
sure.
this is that we we are on we're on this path. We're on this journey, this ride, whatever you want to call it, and it is totally okay.
Yes, it is totally okay. It is totally okay.
Wherever it takes you,
Yeah.
whatever path you're on, it's okay. And I think we all learn and heal and evolve in our own time. And I think, you can even have shame about having shame. Feeling
Yes.
bad about how long you've carried this around. Gee, I wish I were further along 20 years ago. It's like, well, it's
Right.
okay.
Right.
It's okay. It's like we always say when we're hiking or walking together and we've got some stragglers in our group and we get together, we're like, we're moving forward.
It's
We're
right.
still
Moving
moving
forward.
forward.
We're
It's
walking.
okay.
We're walking. We're
Yeah,
walking.
it's
Yes,
okay. It's
we are.
okay.
It is
Yeah.
okay. Big
So
breath.
I know.
That's a
And let
lot.
it
That's the
let it
energy of
go.
that is super heavy, you know?
But it feels lighter just talking about it.
Absolutely. It does.
And I can already feel the shift in my own energy because my heart is no longer going "Eek." and
Yes.
and my GI
Yes.
track is like, okay, I think we're gonna make it.
To the end of the podcast anyway, right?
Woo, yeah. Everybody's like, oh, thank goodness for that.
Right.
Yeah, we don't want to go there.
No, 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 no. But we all manifest these things differently, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
It affects our
people
bodies. Migraines,
yeah,
oh my gosh, I had migraines for years.
chest
Years.
pain,
Chest pain.
high blood pressure, heart
Yeah.
palpitations, or, irregularity in heartbeats.
Cardiac arrhythmia,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
Been
I
there.
mean, yeah, um, another
How
one of my
how's
favorites. I was just gonna say is the body keeps the score. We'll do a whole thing on that sometime.
Yes.
But yeah,
Yes.
I mean, it's these heavy emotions, these heavy energies, they if they hang with us for a long time, they have a real impact on us.
They affect our
So,
health, absolutely.
yeah, so it's worthwhile to examine them. It's
To face
worthwhile
them.
to yeah, to just be with them, to allow them to be what they are. For a lot of us, I mean, that's always my go-to. If I feel something like when I was, when I was awake in the middle of the night and I could feel the shame and the fear, I thought, I just have to give this some space. I can't if I try to happy talk it away or just okay, I'm just gonna take some deep breaths to try to get rid of it. It's like you're just stuffing it back down.
Mhm.
That's it. It's
Yeah.
not. It's going to come out again. It's not going to go away. It's like, all right, if you want to push me down, that's fine, but I'm still here. I'm
Yeah.
still here. And so it doesn't. Um, it's hard, but trying to ignore it doesn't make it any easier.
No. No, and trying to ignore it, I mean, I can speak from my own personal experience about my health, cardiac arrhythmias, I've been there, all kinds of GI issues, chest pain, you were talking about, the migraines, and, it's amazing since just the last few years since we went through Reiki training and became Reiki masters and William Lee Rand, we love you, by the way.
Yes.
And and all of these steps and these phases of healing, because I prayed a lot. I prayed a lot. I went through retreats. I did all of that for years, and it just only brought me so far. And so
Hmm.
my explorations with you and individually have been just to try to find other ways to help me heal. And even our soul level animal communication with Danielle McKinnon. Love you, Danielle. We
Yes,
wouldn't
we
be
do.
doing this without the
No.
experiences that we've
Uh-uh.
had with her and with working with
Nope. We
people
would
and with
not.
animals and the soul level coaching with working with our spirit guides, and wouldn't be where I am now, and just seeing the healing in my own body and in my own um cycles of depression. I I am in a totally different place than I was even 10 years ago, and I am
Yeah.
so grateful. Even
Absolutely.
2 years ago. And that's part of, for me, that's part of embracing the light and the darkness, right? In all of us, the shame, the fear, the judgment, embracing it and loving the little girl, and that was wounded, and the who I am today, and loving myself and embracing all of that is what has helped free me from a
Yeah.
lot of those physical ailments that were my body trying to tell me something's not right.
Yeah.
Something is not in balance here.
Right.
And
Right.
so I think just like what we're doing now is come from a place of just wanting to love all of who I am, wanting to embrace all of who I am, and wanting so much to help others along the way.
Yeah.
And and just like you with your working as a sociologist, as a professor, you can only help your students so far. I can only help my patients so far,
Right.
and I see it and I feel it in them because I'm an intuitive and an empath, and
Hmm.
I pick up on these things in their lives that there's not enough time, there's not enough space, or they're not open to it for me to bridge this with them in the Western medical clinical setting. And
Right.
so I think my passion, my heart is on fire for this because I want to help others on this next level,
Yes.
next expansion of the heart, the mind, the soul, um, because we all are spiritual beings, light beings, and that's why we're here. We are here to expand, evolve, grow, to love each other, and to be the best version of ourselves that we can be, and
Right.
and being locked in or bound by our past shame is not helping us grow spiritually.
No.
It's
No.
holding us back and making us sick, physically sick.
And if anything, it causes us to hide our light, right?
Yes,
I mean, it diminishes.
absolutely.
We're um, we're all diminished when people are afraid to be who they are, when
Yes,
they're afraid to be as fully loving as we are meant to be. It just it robs us all of the
absolutely.
collective benefit of just moving through the world of loving people,
Yes,
you know?
absolutely. And so
So,
I think that's just one of the biggest motivators for being here and doing this right now
yeah,
is to say to each person watching this, you are a beautiful, radiant being of light, and the world
absolutely.
needs your light, and the world needs your
Yes.
love. And
Yeah.
shine. Just get
Yep.
out there and shine. Love yourself for the
Yeah,
beautiful soul you
absolutely.
are. Yeah.
Absolutely. And if shame is part of your story, your journey, it's okay. It is for many of us, and it's not impossible to work with it, move it, shift it, lift it, and be more of
Heal.
who you really want to be. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, on that note, maybe it's time to say
Sending
goodbye.
yes, and sending all of you listening to this so much love, light, and blessings.
Absolutely. I second that. Take care till next time.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.